The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Wednesday. And CJ, put the camera on you. My monitor's not on. I got to go turn it on.
Okay. Camera's on me. Sorry about that, people. We are having a little bit of technical difficulty for Chip to see himself on camera.
Live TV.
Live TV. Whenever anything can go wrong, it does go wrong.
Okay, we're ready. Let's do this.
Can you see yourself now, Chip?
Well, it's more important that I see what's on the screen. If I'm speaking on something, I'd like to see what's on the screen. So, okay, where do we begin?
Purple bags costing us money.
Purple bags costing us money, and more money. I did $70K plus $95,000 to buy yard waste containers because people are opting back in since we've got it. So again, the bottom line is, look, this is a political scheme to get reelected, and he admitted it, and it does cite that in the article. And it also talks about he did very little in specifics when he talked. He just wanted to eliminate it before the election, and he didn't. And again, we know that all these things, getting rid of the $10 trash fee was political. It was done just before an election, even though the promise was made. At the beginning of his term, it wasn't done until he was running for re-election. So, look, there's not much to discuss as far as I'm concerned anymore. He's gone on television. He's been on radio. He said it to reporters in print. He's admitted that he does these things for political reasons, not for the good of the public.
That's right.
And then he sticks it up on a billboard about what he did, but then in the next breath he tells everybody, I didn't do this for you. I did it for my own political gain.
Right.
So if you're dumb enough not to figure that out, well, there's not much more we can really say about that. I don't know what else we can say.
Well, I just think it's interesting because it's costing us $165,000 to do this, to end this program, a program that generated $2 million in revenue. But again, and it's very clear in that article, it was not well received by the community. It was not well received by the people. Compliance was an issue. And the first thing the mayor did after he abolished the purple bags was he abolished the enforcement group. The 4 people who enforce trash compliance
so
and
all
recycling
those people
compliance.
who paid fines can really be upset. So.
Right, and that's the whole thing. Now, all those fines that are still pending, are they going to be collected? Are they not going to be collected? Now, according to John Perry at a recent city council meeting, that's a little over $4,000. Not that it's a lot of money compared to a budget that's, $200 and some odd $million, but when it's a little over $250 million. But again, you have to look at this saying, this was definitely a political play. There's no question about it.
Of course, and look at look at the other ramifications of this. Number one, how do you think the people who were fined feel? They got fined while other people never ever used a purple bag and didn't get fined.
Especially if they paid it.
And if they paid it. And how about the people who complied? The majority of people, and that percentage was changed, and every time they spoke about compliance, we had a different number of how many people were actually complying. And how about those people? How about the people like me who used purple bags? Who put a purple bag in it every single day, every single trash day? or 2 purple bags, or 3 purple bags, or 5 purple bags, while the guy across the street had not 1 purple bag.
That used to aggravate you every day you came in. Every
Sure,
trash day you
sure,
came in here.
you know, and yeah, but the thing is, it's you either abide by the law or you, see, that's the key. It's always been you either abide by the law or you're willing to accept the penalties. As Martin Luther King said, if you don't agree with the law and you want to disobey it, be prepared to go to jail.
Right.
And suffer the consequences. But, you know, the thing is, that's what disturbs me, because we, you know, the people who complied obeyed the law. We may not have liked it, and we may have changed it, but what does that say to us? You guys are big, giant suckers. Because as usual, the politicians pandering to getting reelected forgive everybody's debt. It's just like the segue in. Look what's happening now again with that college scandal. As soon as they had to do time, the one who apologized, the rich have a different, they have a 2-tiered justice system. Even the one that made the plea deal has now backed out of the plea deal, according to the last news I saw, because the Fed said they wanted her to have jail time. So even though she gave this ridiculous apology about, oh, I apologize to the people whose children were denied, it's not bull BS crap. It's just, you're about as disingenuous as a human being can be, and it was shown very quickly. Soon as the Feds, you're going to spend a little time in jail. You know what she said? I'm not taking a deal. I'm going to try to buy my way out of this. Even though I pleaded guilty, I'm going to try to buy myself out because I'm too rich to do time. So again, we have the double standard. You know, the old saying, if you do the crime, you got to do the time. Not if you're rich. So as soon as she found out she had to not just make some disingenuous apology, she had to do some jail time, she's backed out on a deal. So this is the same thing we see how about the people, the people who paid? They don't care about us. They don't care about the tax. And what about the other costs we haven't even discussed yet, CJ? What did they say? Some 200 people got back in.
Right.
So that's 200 more people who are putting trash in for disposal that we're paying for. Have we got an estimated cost of how much that's going to be? Have we projected how much more? Because look, we've got to pay to get rid of that trash. There is a cost factor to that. So we have more people now throwing away trash. So look, again, it was never thought out. The financial consequences are never thought out when this city does anything, because you know something? Mary Sahadi and Jaisal don't care. Kathy Ann doesn't care. They get their pay raises, and the taxpayers foot the bill.
And their stipends.
And their stipends, and the taxpayers foot the bill. So, like we said, how many times did he get to tell you? He's admitted it. He's admitted it to the newspaper. It was for political reasons. He admitted it on newsmakers. He admitted it on the radio, on the TV, in print. All this stuff was not done for you. And then he sticks it on a sign. Eliminated purple bags, eliminated trash fee. Why? See, that's the key. This is what always disturbs me about how myopic people are, how easily they don't care. All they care about is they didn't have to pay $2 for a bag. They don't care that this reason was not to help them. They don't care that the man who is now touting getting rid of them has blatantly just come out without any guilt at all, saying, listen, you idiots, I'm not doing this because it's the right thing to do. I'm not doing this because I care about you. I'm doing this because you're so dumb you're going to vote for me because I did it. But you're going to forget that I didn't do it for the first 2.5 years of my term. So, like I said, how much more can you do? What more can he do to tell you that this had nothing to do with him being a good mayor and everything to do about him being reelected. So, oh, well, no,
Well, maybe Jazel should learn about from this educational problem, you know, the lawsuits that came out, the prosecution, because those people didn't accept the deal. What happened? They got another indictment.
That's right. Yeah, and you know, it's ironic because the other 14 people or so, whatever, you know, they took the plea figuring they were going to get out scot-free.
Right.
And then when the Fed said, well, you know, you got to do time. You got to do some time. Now we've already had the biggest name, the biggest movie star, a soap opera star, a TV star, or whatever she is. I don't.
Lori Loughlin.
Yeah, whatever. I don't watch those things.
She's known from Full House. Yeah.
Full House or whatever. Never watched it. No, I have no desire to watch it. But the reality is, as soon as she found out that her elitist butt had to do some jail time, she went, forget about that deal. I'm pulling out of the deal because
exactly.
I'm too rich and too nauseous to do jail time. You know. So again, just like with Jazel getting rid of it and then admitting he did it for political reasons, she just, as far as I'm concerned, told everybody that apology that they plastered all over the media, I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. You made that apology hoping, you know, all your media friends would say, oh, yeah, the poor thing. You know, she just wanted to let her daughter go have 4 years of partying and going to football games and bumping some poor kid who worked 3 jobs and their parents are working 3 jobs to make ends meet. You bump them out of a college position, getting into a college, admitted to a college of their choice, and being maybe the first one in their family ever to go to college and maybe becoming productive citizens. Because I hate to say it, but chances are the daughter that said she didn't really care about college, she just wanted to go party and go to the games and see how it was. I don't think that degree's going to do her much good.
No, it's not.
Because she's going to live off mommy and daddy's money for the rest of her life. So why don't you just give her the money and ship her butt to Europe and tell her disappear for 4 years, and when you come back, we'll give you some more money and let you set you up for the rest of your life.
That's it.
Why knock some poor kid out of college?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just reprehensible.
I hear you. Well, it looks like tonight there's going to be a special meeting, joint meeting of the City Council and the School Committee, so the administration, not the mayor, the administration, can present their budget for 2020. But there'll be no specifics.
Oh, well, that's a great budget. Well, there's no specifics. And also there'll be a ton of lies, just as we talked about that article by the superintendent talking about health care. They had a very minimal amount. They're also going to talk about probably the retirement debt, which they caused, by the way, by not putting in enough money, the city, not the employees. So now they're going to try to get out of that one by getting a POB. So, you know, this is all, you know, again, this is all the dance of the chickens.
Yep.
They're going to go in front of the council and do this. This is the article, by the way. Da-da-da-da-da. Do the two-step. And we're not, no specific figures. And everything we tell you today is subject to change tomorrow and then a day after and the day after.
Right.
And even after the budget.
Well, it's interesting because the proposed budget is $300 million, up from the current $282 million. And unlike the present budget, the new budget will identify possible new revenue sources. Now, remember these new revenue sources we always hear about?
Yep. Possible.
From excise and impact fees from medical and recreational marijuana, parking garages, which they're not going to talk about the money they have to spend to repair them,
Yep.
recently acquired by the city, and billboards and closed-circuit advertising soon to be located inside City Government Center. Now, the expected tax increase. Remember he said he's not going to increase the taxes 2.5%?
Yep.
Expected tax increase 2.5%. Which doesn't include the 2020 debt exclusion of $2.1 million for the new BMC Durfee High School. Remember we said the city could afford the debt exclusion, but that we didn't need it?
Yep.
It's $2.1 million a year. $2.1 million a year.
Yeah.
How come they just upped the budget by $18 million?
You're going to have to clarify something for me, CJ. You
Sure.
see that last line here? The $2.1 million and interest. Is that and interest?
No, in interest. That's the interest.
That's just the interest.
Right.
That's what I thought. But I want to make sure that I'm reading this right because, again, we're not paying on a debt yet. All we're paying is the interest. The interest is included in there. So that debt exclusion that was going to be paid in, what, 8 years?
Supposedly.
Forget about it because we're not even paying on it. We're just paying the interest.
Right.
Last time I checked, if you pay just the interest on your credit card, it never,
The bill doesn't go down.
it doesn't go down. So, again, this is crap. Again, here we go again. We're talking about possible. And by the way, when you read that, if you do read the newspaper today, remember the new revenue sources. Excise. What's excise? That's us. Taxes on you people. Excise tax. It's going up again. Everything goes up. Remember, but I got eliminated your $2 bag. But we just went up. We just went up $8 million. But Kathy Ann don't care. She got a $20,000 pay raise. Mary got a $40,000 pay raise. They all got stipends on top. The other snow removal, $10,000 stipend for walking around looking at the snow. Hey, look, life is good when you're a political hack, and life is great. And the taxpayers are again going to take it on the chin. So look, and this is what gets me. They have a meeting to discuss finances.
With no finances to discuss.
With no accurate figures to discuss. Well, then again, what the hell? I mean, Hagen Sahadi audited the city they still auditing, they're still involved because Mary's here. We can go back all the way into the 80s. And I remember right after in 91 when we sued and found out they screwed the audit all up and they admitted under oath they didn't do an actual audit. About 3 or 4 years later, they found 5 insurance accounts that had been dormant for 25 years. You explain to me what business would continue to entrust their finances and audits to a company that had audited the city annually and didn't know there were 5 accounts that were dormant for 25 years. Bad enough that they had millions of dollars in accounts they weren't supposed to be in violation of a statute. And when they go in front of the council, it's comical. It's just absolutely comical. I mean, look at their record. Are you going to bet? Are you going to bet on a horse that never won a race, and they pulled him out of the truck to the glue factory to get him in a Kentucky Derby? If you do, give me the money because I'll give you the odds. So I mean, when we see these people, if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
That's Fall River's history.
Just remember, yeah, we repeat history because everybody in here is nuts because that's the definition of insanity. Have the same people running your finances and auditing your finances. They've been auditing it for decades, and the city's had more money lost, more money now accounted for than probably any community on the planet Earth. And they go up there and they're like the Oracle at Delphi. You got Geppetto and Pinocchio up there, and there they go. Well, we're not exactly sure, but we're going to give you the financial state. We're not exactly sure. We're not, and even the things they do say, the figures they do have accurately is the ones they're trying to get money for, like the retirement fund liability, but that's because they caused it. But they don't tell you that. They leave that part out. Oh, by the way, the city didn't put in the proper amount between 02 and 12, and that dropped our pension fund from 70% funded down to 40% funded. So we want to do it again. Let us not put enough money in there. Let us get just a bond to pay our rent, and then we'll pay anything over and above so we can have more money to blow. So, hey, look, Good luck with that. You know, I won't even be perfectly truthful. I won't even watch the meeting. I'll watch it in pieces. I'll tape it. I have to watch it in like 3-minute increments so I don't start hitting myself in the head with a hammer.
And your eyes and ears don't bleed.
That's right.
I'm going to take the pins out of your house.
That's right. And, you know, so again, an article about something that's a total waste of time. You know, they're gonna have a financial state of the city with no specific figures and no accurate figures. So
It's not like we need accurate figures, right?
now, who cares?
Don't we just see how much crap we can throw against the wall and see what sticks?
But hey, let's get to our state here, right? State site back is not giving up. People who want to have your injection site back as well. Yeah.
They've been citing Canada for this. This is for people. This is so that drug addicts can go to a specific clinic or a site where they can inject their drugs without any threat of arrest. And if they overdose, there'll be medical personnel there to.
And by the way, who picks up the tab for the medical personnel?
The state. The state's going to have to pick up the tab.
And does the state of Massachusetts have their own personal account, or is it our money?
It's our money.
Oh, well, okay. I just want everybody to know that we're going to give, not only, you know, that's the other side cost. This is not just a safe site, which to do something illegal, which to me flies in the face of the law.
It is illegal. The U.S. attorney already said that if they open them, he's going to prosecute.
Yeah. So it's illegal. So we're going to give them an illegal site to keep them safe.
Right.
And then we're going to provide them medical attention at our expense.
Right.
So they can get high, go out and steal some more money to buy more drugs. What's the next thing? When a couple of OD on bad drugs, are we going to have a laboratory facility to ensure before they shoot up that the drugs aren't tainted?
No, what's going to happen is this, and I can
you explain.
I can already see this.
Speaking of Canada, because you did speak in front of the entire Parliament or whatever.
That's right.
So
I'll tell you. Here's what's going to happen, because in Canada they don't have this issue because they have socialized medicine, so you can't sue them for malpractice.
Yeah.
But in the United States you can. Picture these junkies going in and overdosing, and one of them dies, and the family decides to sue the medical practitioners in the clinic for malpractice because Junior overdosed, and they did nothing to save him, or they didn't do enough to save him. This is what's going to happen, and I know this is going to happen. And if one of them overdosed and they come back, they're going to sue saying, you know, they caused irreparable harm, and of course the insurance companies will settle, and of course they're going to get, you know, $12, $15, $25, $35,000 to put right back in their arm.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with this whole idea. In Canada, this might work, and I don't think it does. But they're already saying in this article that overdose rates are down this year from 2018. In 2018, we had about 2,000. Now we have less. So why do we need safe sites? To spend our money.
It's a money-making industry for pharmaceutical companies, for the healthcare, and that's what you know as well as I do. So I know that was a rhetorical question, CJ, but because we know why they continue this. This is the new military-industrial complex, drug addicts. So
beware the pharmaceutical industrial complex.
Beware the pharmaceutical industrial complex. But now let's get to one of our favorite things, the charter. We talked about this before.
Oh, yes.
Joshua Hetzler, school committee, I guess, posted this on his Facebook page.
Yes, he did.
You know, about his fight. It's not only personal, and it is personal, but it's also something that we've said numerous times, regardless of whether you support his candidacy or not. I personally feel that, you know, number one, I personally feel the entire charter should be used for toilet paper for people who...
I don't even think it's good enough for that.
Yeah, well, you give it to people you don't like so they can irritate themselves when they wipe with it. But it's like wiping with sandpaper when you did that charter. But he talks about, you know, not being able to run and having the people decide. And, you know, but then again, why should you say that? It only says that in our Constitution. How dare you say that you have a right? Because then they're going to say, well, you do have a right. And he goes on, he does clarify. The charter doesn't say he can't run and he can't be elected. It says that he can't hold his job.
Right.
So, in other words, you've got to give up your livelihood in order to hold office, which is absurd. I mean, we do have conflict of interest laws. There are mechanisms when people hold those offices where, you know, they have to declare, they have to recuse themselves on particular votes. And the reality of that is, if you still want to vote for this guy, let's say, for example, he's on the school committee, but let's say, for example, we get somebody on the city council. Obviously, he can't, if he was a firefighter, he can't deal with firefighter issues, firefighter, you know, things that come before the council. It's a conflict of interest. But if you still feel as a citizen that you still want him on for his positions on other issues, it should be our right. Because it does say in our Constitution that we are the government and that all elected officials are answerable to us. So what is the highest form of answerability? You like that? I just made that word up. I just to put that
Should be accountability, but that's okay.
No, I want, that's a nice word.
It is a nice word.
Electability, because that's technically what it is, your ability to be elected, electability.
And again,
I put that suffix on for a reason. But the thing is that, like I said, you know, whether you voted for him or didn't vote for him, and he goes on to say, no matter what department you're in the city, and that's true. I'm not taking his position because he's a firefighter. I don't care if he's a police officer or he's a janitor at City Hall. I don't care what he does. You cannot, in my opinion, make it virtually impossible for an entire segment of the population not to participate in our government, not run for public office. You think if the charter said you can't run if you're black, or you can't hold office, you have to give up your full-time job if you're black, or if you're Muslim, or if you're some ethnic or religious group? No. Well, that's prohibited by the Constitution. Well, our Constitution also says that you're answerable to the people at all time. And what is the ultimate? I like that word, you know, the ultimate, whether you're electable or not. It's the voters. We're supposed to be the government. I think he's 100% right, and I wish him well. And I hope he fights this thing to the Supreme Court, because this charter should have been burnt at the stake before it ever got. But you know, again, you bought their line of crap about this was wonderful. You know, you bought the Myoza milk.
You know, that's always the funny part about it, because we've said it all the time here about this charter that it was no good for the city, and people said we were negative. We've got to give it a chance. We've got to give it a chance. Okay, we're negative. We gave it a chance, and guess what? It failed. It fails at every turn. At every turn of the corner, it fails. You have multiple people serving on multiple boards. You have, you know, firefighters serving as elected officials. You have, you know, the mayor doing whatever the hell he wants, and he's not accountable to anyone. You have the city council not following the charter. Nobody's following the charter, and even the recall provision wasn't done right. So, I mean, what good is the charter? What good is the charter? I really want to know. If it can't do anything, why bother? We might as well run under anarchy. Sounds like a better idea to me.
I think that's what we got already.
It's true.
Stay angry, everybody, and remember, the charter was by a judge. Said, if you really meant it, why didn't you say it? So they were condemned by a court of law.
Right, and remember, it's not the intent of the charter was.
That's right.
The intent of our show is to inform you, but the actions of our show is to inform you.
That's right.
So we don't go by intent around here. Hey, have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday.